You are watching the MAPS Wellness Room. I'm your host, Miata Clark. Join me weekly for dynamic guests, tips, and advice. Most of all, positive energy. And remember, my friend, you have power. Welcome to another episode of the MAPS Wellness Room. I'm your host, Miata Clark. Thank you for joining us today. I have an amazing guest. Her name is Libby Steggles-Ginn, and she comes from a space of empowering parents and children to be their best selves emotionally, how to communicate. She has a company called Emoji Coach. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And she's going to tell us a little bit about that. First, can you introduce yourself to everyone and let them know who you are and what you do?
So yes, Libby Steggles-Ginn here from the UK, thank you. And you're right, my company is the Emoji Coach. And I empower parents to raise confident, resilient and happy kids. And I used to work very much just with the children. However, now I think because of my own journey I've been through, and I can see the impact it has when I work with parents. This is what I do. So it's healing generational patterns that are coming down the family line, that is stopping it from going onto their children as well.
Right. I was going to actually ask you about that. Like, how did you stumble or come about wanting to empower parents and children? And then I guess the second part of that would be, what exactly do you mean when you say to empower?
So I've been on my own journey. When I was younger, I didn't have a lot of confidence and self-esteem. And I would say that my immune system was quite weak. And there always seemed to be something when I moved forward, something would happen to pull me back again. And the age of 13, I went through depression. Nobody knew what that depression was about. And I even had a psychiatrist who came along to my house because I was in bed for like 3 months, who threatened to take me away from my parents if I didn't get out of bed and go to school. So there was a real lack of understanding around emotions. And then when I became a mum myself, I went through my own journey and I noticed the patterns that were occurring with my children that had happened throughout my childhood, and parenting patterns that were coming through me that had been passed down to me. And that's when I made a real change in my parenting skills. I cut off from the society's way of bringing up my children, and rather than controlling my kids through fear and making the choices through, oh, what if this happens and that happened to me, I empowered them. So getting on to the second point, empowerment is where you give them those choices, you give them the freedom to go on their own journey and to live their life, to make those mistakes. And I was talking about this with my 17-year-old daughter this morning, actually, where she's paying for her own driving lessons and her car insurance. And she said to me, I'm really glad that you have given me the opportunity to do this rather than just going, here's the money, we'll pay for you. She said, because it's really, and there's that word again, empowered me. And I said, it's when you empower, you are saying you're capable. You know, and that is all about empowerment. Is like, I trust you, I believe in you, you're capable. And even if they're making those mistakes, it's okay because they're here to learn. And it's about noticing our patterns of, well, it's their mistakes, even though I feel I've been through the same, mine was different. And I help parents to separate that and work with them as a whole.
I love it. And I think too that the fear is passed down through generations because you want to protect your children. You want to keep them from making the same mistakes. And we focus so much on mistakes as
Yeah.
it's not a part of life. It is a part of life. And they're going to make choices, and they're going to make good choices, and they're going to make choices that aren't the best. And we have to give them that room to grow instead of like holding them by the collar with fear of the world. And I understand, because you do. My mom really took really good care of me and my sister. And I think the things that we felt were not necessarily the best choices, as I got older, I understand it was from fear, because she wanted to protect us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She wanted to keep us from harm and all of those good things. But you do then maybe stunt growth a little bit, because, you know, you don't give them the freedom to make choices, to understand why they are not the best choices or why they are good choices. And I love what you have done with your daughter, where you give her that opportunity to be an adult and to start learning what being an adult is all about. So I really, really love that. What tips and or advice would you give to the audience, both children and parents, on how to continue that empowerment of each other? Because children can empower their parents, but parents also empower their children. So what advice or tips would you give?
I think the first thing for the parents would be to really check in with how they're feeling.
Right.
On a daily basis, you know, because we're in this busy world.
Yeah.
And we're in this overwhelm also, and we can have those knee-jerk reactions where we say things, you know, words are so incredibly powerful.
Yes.
And once they're said, you know, that's it, and they can disempower. So I would say that check in how you're feeling on a daily basis. And if your child is doing something that's triggering you, just stop and recognize that actually quite often I see our kids as mirrors, and they mirror things that are going on inside of us. So awareness is key. And if you can become aware of how you're feeling and aware of actually, this is my stuff, and probably isn't anything to do with what they're doing, and I need to look at this separately before I make my choices or say what it is that I'm going to say to my child. So I would say awareness is key. Check in with how you're feeling all of the time. Get out of your head into your body. And the same with the child. I think for parents to give your children that freedom to express how they feel. You know, we have this very old school of, you should respect me and don't speak to me like that. Whereas if you teach your children, actually, it's okay for you to say how you feel, you may just need to find a different way of saying it.
Yes. I love that. That is definitely the key. And even as adults, I always practice, make sure, you know, it's not always what you say, it's how you say it that then, you know, throws people off. I love it. Do you have any social media, any links, anything that you want the audience to have access to?
So I do. My website is theemojicoach.com. And on my website at the moment, it's just been launched today. I've got a free 5-day mini parenting program. So each day they will receive a short video that will help them to do all that I've just spoken about. So that's something to grab while you can. My Facebook, all my social medias are the Emoji Coach. Apart from LinkedIn, where I am Libby Steggles-Ginn on there.
Awesome. And I'll make sure that I include all of those links in the description. And once again, thank you, Libby, for joining us from the UK. I appreciate it very, very much. I know there is a time difference. And thank you to the audience for joining us today, and join us next week for another episode of the MAPS Wellness Room. Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to be a guest here on the MAPS Wellness Room, email us at themapswellnessroom@gmail.com. Until next time, I'm sending light, love, and power.